Dude, the intro's gonna pump us up.
I'm not gonna hear it.
Usually these monitors have a little bit of sound.
No, it's coming out of the headphones and I can't.
Oh.
1, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4.
Malky, you count down.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6.
You're back! Oh gosh, it's been a long, boring summer just sitting here in the Cronkite Sports Live studios, waiting for you to return.
Only with one another for comfort.
It's been nice spending time with Trey, obviously, but you know they turn the air conditioning off in here during the summer, and it's it's really hard to sleep in this suit. So anyway,
I have a pretty comfy suit.
Well,
personally, but
anyway, we're excited you're back. We and the crew have been working all summer to make this show much, much better. Although we didn't get rid of Trey and I, so how much better can you really be getting anyway? But we hope you like all the shiny new stuff because we did it for you, America.
only you.
So for the first time in a long time, I'm Cuyler, he's Trey. Let's get to the sports. Kicking things off, ASU football back in action. Weber State Wildcats in town for the yearly tune-up against the Little Sisters of the Poor. Arizona State Taylor Kelly starting things off his final season. Kabam! Jalen Strong, that was there all day long.
He looked pretty strong on that catch.
Well, it's easy to look strong when you're being guarded by apparently a 12-year-old. DJ Foster up the middle here, one of his 3 touchdowns. He's the feature back this season. Still nothing for Weber State. 17 points, pending the field goal, of course. Spoiler alert, it happened. All right, now 4th down and goal. Boom! Defense, 9 non-returning starters. They stoned Weber State Wildcats at the goal line right here in the 4th down. Turnover, kept it at 0 points for now. DJ Foster threw the tackles, doing his best Marion Grice impression. Possible he might be able to run inside. We'll see how that looks when he's against real competition. So, it was a rout. Second half, they put the second stringers in, and the Wildcats did manage to score 14 points, but 570 total yards of offense, video game-like numbers for everybody. That's what it looked like on television. Our CronkiteSports.com intrepid reporter Adriana Torres, however, was down on the field last night. Here's what she had to say about the game.
Hey guys, it's Adriana Torres here at Sun Devil Stadium where ASU football just finished their season opener against Weber State. And it wasn't exactly a shutout, but it was a blowout as expected. Let's take a look at the 45-14 victory. ASU started the game a bit shaky, or as DJ Foster put it, lackadaisical, forcing the first points of the game to be a field goal. But once the Sun Devils got on the board, the points rolled in. Redshirt junior Gary Chambers scored the first touchdown of the game, followed by 2 short rushing TDs by DJ Foster. But Foster scoring in the 3rd quarter is the one to remember. A 57-yard run, a new career high for him. And let's not forget about the defense. The Sun Devils lost 9 defensive starters this offseason, which means a lot of attention on the defense this year. But in the first game against Weber, the Sun Devils got some confidence with freshman DJ Calhoun.
He is strong and tough. I mean, I just love him. I mean, you ever see his eyes during the game? I mean, you know my joy to coach during the game. I just love that guy. I mean, he was awesome.
The Wildcats did end up scoring twice in the second half, but Coach Graham says that shouldn't have even happened.
It's sloppy, but I'm not keeping our starting quarterback in. I'm not keeping our. I mean, we got scored on there at the end on a draw play with a. I mean, I couldn't believe that play. But that's with our reserves and that thing. It makes you look kind of sloppy at times there.
For Cronkite Sports Live, I'm Adriana Torres.
Adriana was on the field last night. She's on studio today. Adriana, ASU lost 9 starters on defense last season, so naturally the biggest question going into last night's game is how will the newcomers perform in this scenery in Division I college football in which everyone's bigger, everyone's faster. We saw glimpses of greatness from some of them last night, namely DJ Calhoun. What do you think of his performance for the Sun Devils?
Well, with so many guys missing from defense from this past season, of course eyes are going to be on the defense, and Calhoun came up big last night, a big prospect, and he showed up. He had 5 big blocks last night. Even just his presence in the backfield as a blitzer, that's going to be a huge thing going for the rest of the season, and that's much different than what they had last year. Chris Young, his replacement, or who he replaced, was much different than him. Calhoun is only 6 foot tall. He's only about a little over 200 pounds, so he's going to be more, they're going to be using his speed as a blitzer. But about Calhoun specifically in a play that he was in last night, it was first half, the Wildcats were about to score. They were on the 2-yard line and second down, and Coach Todd Graham kind of pulled them aside, and there was a defensive timeout, which was kind of weird in that situation. But after that, Calhoun teamed up with Jackson Hood, and they stopped him. There was no touchdown. Second down, third down, they were able to block him. So situations like that's going to be really helpful in the future. Not necessarily last night against Weber, just because it was such a skewed score. But in the future, when scores are closer, it's going to be a game changer.
I think it's interesting to note that going into fall camp, Todd Graham kept saying that his biggest concern was at the will linebacker position. In fact, Carlos Mendoza was the presumed starter until he went down with an injury, and that's why DJ Calhoun is there in the first place, not your prototypical type of will linebacker player. He's a little bit undersized. He's extremely fast. But if he can continue playing at this level, what's the significance for this inexperienced Sun Devil defense?
Well, yeah, Calhoun has great potential, not only with his talent, as we saw last night, but also in a leadership role. There's so many freshmen, so many underclassmen that are, in defense and in the team as a whole. And if he continues with his talent, they're really in need of a leadership role as well that he can fill, especially with there only being 11 seniors on the roster this year. And let's take a look at the graphic here. Of those 11, only 8 of them are on the 2-deep depth chart. That's fewest in the nation. So a lot of underclassmen have to fill a lot of roles. Let's take a look at what they lost going into this year from last year. 81% of interceptions are lost, 76% of tackles are lost, but that doesn't say that, talent can't be filled in. Last night we saw cornerback Chad Adams have a near interception. Cornerback Armand Perry, he had a block punt in the first quarter, and although it's, we really need freshmen for defense, we also see some potential in offense as well. Running back Kalen Balaj had a touchdown last night with 12 carries totaling 37 yards. So there's potential there. Todd Graham's kind of messing around with, different plays and whatnot with defense. He even called them a little bit exotic. So potential ahead.
Again, we should reiterate that we can't overblow this story. It was only a Weber State team, an FCS-type opponent, and DJ Calhoun even admitted that he had some pre-game jitters before the game. I'm sure he wasn't alone among that freshman new-coming class. And once they start taking on teams like UCLA, USC, Stanford, and Notre Dame, I'm assuming those jitters are going to be magnified by 100. We'll get a glimpse of them next week when they travel to New Mexico to take on the Lobos. But for now, she's Adriana, I'm Jake, to Gavin Shaw in the studio.
I'm Gavin Shaw. Welcome into our Tweets of the Summer segment. Kennedy Collier left us for promises of Hollywood fame, so I'm here trying to live up to his lofty legacy. Twitter is a fickle mistress. It captures both our best moments and occasionally our worst. Unfortunately for Jahi Carson in this tweet, this was, well, one of his worst. And here we have the Wollongong Hawks, and they're the Australian team that took Jahi Carson. I know, it's a mouthful. They took Jahi Carson. And this tweet is depressing for a number of reasons. First, the guy interviewing him is named Robbo. Frankly, that sounds kind of like the Hopper on the Dish Network.
That is racist.
Maybe.
Imagine having to say that at every press conference. So the Wollongong Hawks
that was
are
perfect.
doing pretty well.
Listen, good for Jahi Carson. It's good for him that he's got a job.
I guess. I wouldn't want to play for that team. I would decline a contract for the sole sake of not having to explain to my family at Thanksgiving that I was playing for some team whose name I couldn't pronounce.
All right.
I'm sure Jahid got it. Yeah. Now onto our next tweet. Trey had a weird little Twitter explosion over the summer.
Oh, boy.
Fortunately, Cuyler was here to capture it. I'm going to let you guys take this one because, frankly, you know what happened a lot better than I did.
I was hacked. That's as simple as it
No,
gets.
you were not hacked. Can we please put an end to using the word hacked incorrectly? You left your Twitter open.
Either way.
I left my Twitter open is the correct answer
Hashtag
to that
swerve.
question.
Either way, my Twitter was being used
So he
by
left his
someone
Twitter
else.
open.
It was relatively funny. Maybe one of the funnier things that have
I
happened.
think that
on
my
Twitter
favorite
feed.
part was that Trey said he was going to stop, or fake Trey, I don't know who this is. And then 6 minutes later, he was back again with that final one.
Yes,
That
well,
may have been real,
Trey,
May have been
password security,
switching things up.
they're not.
It wasn't one of my prouder moments.
I don't know. I don't
It
think
wasn't one
Trey
of my prouder
Rocks is the
moments.
best password I've even gotten in a couple of times. Now let's go on
Trey
to our
does rock,
final
though.
tweet.
That's accurate.
And guys, I need you guys to describe this to me. All I've been told is the Shmoney dance was a Bobby Shmurda creation. Is Bobby Shmurda some kind of Teletubby? Is he a rapper? I don't know. You guys figure this one out for me.
You're asking us to
I
break this
think
one
you
down?
guys are in on pop culture.
I don't do my dance getting out of the haircut place. I mean, I have a little. So I don't know if that's.
Guys, are we sure it's not
You
just
know,
the Johnny
the
Manziel
Dougie.
money?
Our
with
floor
your hair?
director, John, nodded when the question was said, is he a rapper? So I'm going to say yes.
Not a Teletubby,
He
then.
is a rapper. I know he is not a Teletubby. The Teletubbies are
that's
Tinky
news to me.
Winky,
Okay.
Poe,
We can't get
and
into we can't get
others.
in depth on Teletubbies just yet. You got to tune in for the after later night show on that for that one.
Anyway,
But,
John from Guam, floor director, says yes, he is a rapper.
all right, there's your confirmation.
That's the end of that.
All right. So ASU in news, ASU adding 2 new players to its Hall of Ring of Honor for the football team. Eric Allen, 1987 All Pac-10, 15 career interceptions. He won a Rose Bowl, so that's pretty notable. And the other inductee, Darren Woodson, was a former walk-on out of Phoenix's Maryvale High. He was a 3-time Pac-10 honorable mention and also a 1991 team captain. And that was some good news, but with the good comes the bad, and in some bad news for ASU's fall sports, there's a lot of superstars with these fall sports. With football, you've got the likes of Taylor Kelly, DJ Foster. When you look over at volleyball, there's Macy Gardner. And with ASU soccer, it's Callie Farquharson. But the team's been without Farquharson since the 16th minute of their season opener, thanks to a nagging injury to her right foot. She sat out the second game entirely, but Farquharson and head coach Kevin Boyd have both said that she's good to go. So hopefully she's going to be good to go for this weekend's games against Illinois and Loyola Chicago. But enough of me talking about ASU soccer. Let's leave that one to the experts. Just so happens we've got one of those experts in studio right now, joined by none other than Cuyler Meade himself to break it down. Mauricio, what do you have for us?
All right, thank you very much. I'm now joined by Mauricio Casillas, our soccer insider and analyst. So the Sun Devil soccer team, women's soccer team, took the little vacation down to Hawaii for their preseason excursion. Had a pretty exciting, pretty decent come-from-behind draw, 2-2 with Texas, and then a romp of the host team. But that Texas game, you had a little bit of intrigue at the back of the formation. What's going on, Mal?
Yeah, so basically what happened, it was sort of unexpected, Cuyler, was the fact that there's a little bit of controversy with the goalkeeper. Chandler Morris has been the starter for the past 2 years, and Lexi Bounds came in the second half against Texas, and she finished out that game, closed it out, and then she started against Hawaii, and the Sun Devils won that game. So I talked to Coach Boyd earlier this week to see what was going on, and he told me for right now, Lexi Bounds is the starter for Friday, but going forward, he's not entirely sure. So it's kind of, there's a competition between the goalkeepers, but he also said that it's good, that Chandler Morris has responded well to the fact that, you know, a freshman may have taken her spot, but she's working hard, and that's honestly the best outcome for both of them.
Great, and so she wasn't the only freshman surprising down there. There was also a brand new forward bursting onto the scene and tying a Sun Devil record. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so Allie Moon is really the biggest story there. She got a hat trick in her second game overall in her career. To put things in perspective, Coach Boyd said in his 18 years of coaching, he's never seen anything like that. He's never seen a freshman be able to step up and in their first weekend score 3 goals. So that's extremely impressive. But the most impressive thing, I think, is Callie Farquharson was out as forward, and she's going to open up those spaces and really take the pressure off of Allie Moon. But Allie Moon didn't need that. Allie Moon was there. She took charge. She scored 3 goals, and that's great for the Sun Devils.
All right, so with Callie Farquharson, a little bit of changes, obviously, in the back, in the front, a lot of stuff going on. and now they're going on the road to start the season, head to the great state of Illinois for a 4-game stretch. How's that challenge going to turn out for these guys to start things off?
Well, I think the biggest thing that they have to adjust to is the fact that these are student athletes, and there's a lot of freshmen, there's a lot of inexperience, and the biggest thing is that these girls are still getting adjusted to that life. They're traveling, they're being students. I think that's the biggest adjustment. Coach Boyd is going to have them ready to play, and starting the season on the road isn't that big of a deal because they have a big stretch coming up where they're playing in Tempe. So I think how they respond to the other things off the field, getting ready, eating, sleeping, stuff like that, I think that'll be the telltale sign of how they'll do going forward.
All right, so when they do return to Tempe, it'll be this guy, Mauricio Casillas, on the call for Cronkite Sports on behalf of, and then, of course, being broadcast on Pac12.com.
Yes, sir.
So for everything that you need as far as soccer, this is the guy for you on CronkiteSports.com and elsewhere. Thank you, Mal, for joining us.
Thank you.
Now we're going to send it over, after talking here about the Sun Devils of soccer, we're going to send it over to the Sun Devils of volleyball. And we've got a special guest in town, our brand new analyst, Stephanie Preach, former libero for the Sun Devils. And she's in town here to talk to us about this brand new season coming up for ASU volleyball.
That's right, Cuyler. Thanks. I'm Zach Potleb. Like he said, former ASU libero Stephanie Preach. Stephanie, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Now, your former team is ranked number 25 in the preseason poll. First time in the preseason poll since 1996. They're also picked to finish 4th in the Pac-12. Now, last season, you guys got up to number 15 in the country, hit a bit of a rough patch, a little bit of a losing streak, but a lot of those girls are returning. How do you think that experience is going to help them this season?
I think it's going to help them tremendously. I mean, it's just comes from the simple fact that preseason, any rankings really just don't mean anything, and especially in the Pac-12. So they're going to know that it's going to come down to whose day it is on the court at that given time.
And now a lot of those expectations have to do with the fact that 6 starters are returning. The only loss to you at the libero spot. Now, Stephanie was very successful during her time in Tempe. As you can see, she surpassed 2,000 digs, only the second Sun Devil to ever do that in school history. Obviously, started all the games, so she was successful. You were a big part of the squad for 3 years. Now, moving on without you, what's so critical about that libero spot?
I think communication is key. The libero is essentially where the play starts. So they have to be able to not only communicate with their passers, I mean, the setter, the hitter, their blockers, just to make sure the entire game is going smoothly.
And now talking to Coach Watson earlier this week, he was talking about the fact that the freshman Hallie Harker will step into the libero spot. And with so many returners, so many successful returners, Macy Gardner, Whitney Follett, what's going to be the real challenge for Harker to step in and cement herself as the libero?
I think it's more so taking on the role of a libero, not so much as a freshman. She is going to have to make sure that she can, tell those upperclassmen, the veterans, where to go, what to do, what's working, what's not. So I think just kind of accepting that role that she is a libero and not just a freshman.
Okay, and now kind of putting you on the spot, come January, after the NCAA tournament has completed, how do you think the Sun Devils will have finished out in the Pac-12 and in the NCAA overall?
I think the possibilities are endless for this group of girls. The talent that they have in this gym is scary, and I think with the Pac-12 they will do very well, and then when it comes to the NCAA tournament they will go extremely far.
Well, the Sun Devils kick off their season in Hawaii, of all places, following the soccer team, tonight at 8 p.m. against San Diego State. We'll see how those possibilities do end up, but that's all we have for volleyball. For Stephanie Preach, I'm Zach Potleb. Back to the desk.
Well, football season underway, volleyball almost underway, soccer, and that means hockey season right around the corner. Reigning ACHA national champions are getting set to make their final roster moves and tune up for the title defense as they participate in their annual Maroon and Gold scrimmages this Thursday and Friday. Thursday, you can see the Division II squad looking to redeem themselves after a strong season that was lost due to a violation that forced them to forfeit the majority of their wins. But then Friday, it's the big boys' turn as the defending champs try to figure out how to replace a number of graduated seniors in their quest to repeat. Both games will be broadcast live on CronkiteSports.com at 7:30 p.m. on their respective days.
Here at Cronkite Sports Live, we hashtag embrace debate. Wait, what is that? I'm getting a report that that's the motto of a slightly less successful network? Okay, we'll just keep going. Well, in the interest of objectivity, I'm going to tell you guys all my biases now. I really like Cuyler, don't like Trey that much. But regardless, let's get going with the questions. First one. Will ASU volleyball be better this season than they were last season? Keep in mind they start off this year ranked for the first time since 1996.
Well, I'm hoping my answer here is going to gain the liking of Gavin Shaw. But most importantly, I don't think this ASU volleyball team is going to have trouble transitioning from last year to this year. I think that they're returning a lot of players. I mean, you saw from Stephanie Preach, she's the only player that's going to be missing from that starting lineup. They were able to make a tournament run last year, and I expect that success to continue. Brielle Bailey was a freshman last year. As a sophomore, she's only going to be better, and Macy Gardner is a superstar. I think that they are going to find themselves deep in the postseason.
I mean, you took the words right out of my mouth. Obviously, you can't just replace a player like Stephanie Preach, but when you don't have to replace anybody else, and theoretically everybody else is getting better, a lot of very young players on last year's surprisingly excellent team, they're all just a year better now. So I don't think that there's a reason to be concerned that they'll at least be better than last year, despite the absence of Stephanie Preach.
All right, well, I'm going with the expert here. Zach Poklub told me they will be better this year, so that's 1 point.
And so did we. So
that's true.
We agree.
I'm giving it to Trey. He's the secondary expert. All right, let's move on to our next question. I guess what's really important. Let's go to football. Did the ASU football team impress you last night against Weber State?
Let me start things off with that. They didn't impress me. I actually just wrote a column that's up on CronkiteSports.com right now about it. Listen, obviously they won. Obviously they took care of business. It was a drubbing because Weber State is not good at all. They're just not good. The whole team is made up of Utah State, BYU, and Utah cast-offs. So if you're not making those teams, which isn't to say those aren't good teams, but you're already not making a team, and now you're with Weber State. Listen, it's a tune-up. That's what you always do. But there wasn't that dominant feeling, and this is what I talked about in my column, there wasn't that dominant feeling that I got from the Sacramento State game last year, from the NAU game 2 years ago. And maybe it's because it wasn't all new, but it just felt like they were showing up at the office and taking care of business. So I wasn't really impressed. I thought the defense looked good. Offense, listen, Jalen Strong, when he's covered by a 12-year-old, what are you going to do?
I don't know if there's anything wrong with what they did. I mean, they did take care of business. That's all that really matters when push comes to shove. But I did not like seeing Taylor Kelly only target a couple guys. DJ Foster, Jalen Strong were really the only targets he was looking at. And maybe Todd Graham has just outsmarted us all, and he's not trying to show any of his plays. And if that's the case, then I stand corrected. But as it looks right now, Taylor Kelly keeping his vision a little too narrow for my personal liking.
Trey, I absolutely love your point. If the secondary receivers are going to be successful against anyone, it should be Weber State. That being said, Cuyler was the one who wrote the column on it, so I'm trusting him. 1-1.
I think you're just giving points for no reason.
I'm very arbitrary. There's no hard science to this, if I'm being honest with everyone. Now let's go on to our third question. When do the Sun Devils suffer their first loss on the season?
Okay, I personally think that it's not going to come till the Stanford game. They're going to be playing against UCLA. They're going to be playing against USC before that, both of which are ranked in the top 25. But I don't think UCLA is nearly as good as people think they are, and that's going to be a tough game for UCLA. I don't think Miles Jack is as good as people think he is, but more importantly, I think the Sun Devils can prove to the Sun Devil Nation that they're here to stay. This is a program that's built its way up. I see Stanford though knocking them off their pedestal.
I agree. I think UCLA maybe on the overall is a slightly better team. I do agree. Isn't it amazing?
Okay.
I think UCLA on the overall might be a little bit better team, but it's a Thursday game at home for the Sun Devils. That means the Bruins are going to have a short week of practice. They're going to be having to travel here. Not that it's that long a trip, but listen, you get a big media market, people just get excited. I'm not saying UCLA is not a very good team. I think they are. I'm saying I think ASU is also a very good team, and with the added bonus of playing at home on a short week, I think there's a reasonable chance that I agree. I think they make it all the way to Stanford.
Yeah, and then USC. I mean, they've got the ankle-breaking, nephew Saban Trojans going on there. I don't want any part of that.
You guys both agree. I agree with both of you.
Boom.
Trey said it before any of us, though, so Trey gets the point. That would, I mean, at least according to the numbers, Trey wins. My heart says Cuyler, though.
I don't want to hear
but hey, if we're being completely objective here, and I think I'm the best person out of the three of us, so I'm going to give myself the win.
Okay, nobody won in this case. There's no winner.
This is awful.
There's nobody who is coming away with a trophy. Gavin Shaw should be fired for this performance.
Oh my goodness.
Is where I'm sticking.
I don't know if I'd go quite that far. However,
thank you, Cuyler.
Listen, I lost. Trey lost. Obviously, Gavin lost. And what's most important is, unfortunately, I'm afraid America lost because there wasn't an opportunity here for us to really define a clear winner. And that's what you come to do. So listen, that's the end. That's the end of the program. That's it. Thank you, Gavin, for joining us. Thank you to all of our guests, especially Stephanie Preach coming in town. And listen, we're back.
We are back.
Little rocky start.
We're back for good.
Start a little late, but hey, it's going to be us a couple weeks from now. It's going to be Carrie and Brett next week. But listen, there's a lot of great stuff going on for the Sun Devils right now.
an exciting time of year.
All right, keep an eye on us on CronkiteSports.com. We're going to have everything going on that you could possibly want to know about. That's going to do it for us. He's Trey. I'm Cuyler. Good day.